Boehner, I was at the rally yesterday about the Iran deal, and there were people with signs that said Boehner, McConnell, repugnant traitors. You had Ted Cruz calling you out. Donald Trump said that you weren't doing enough, as did Sarah Palin. What do you make of all these Republican candidates for president like Ted Cruz and Donald Trump and Scott Walker running against you and Mitch McConnell?
Listen, a lot of presidential candidates out there, they're saying a lot of things, and if I started to comment on what they were saying, I would spend all my time doing that. I'm focused on doing my job here, and I'm focusing on the priorities of the American people.
Does criticism bother you particularly?
No.
Mr. Speaker, how are we to perceive this, very quick turnaround on how you are handling the Iran bill, and in particular moving from a bill to disapprove now to approve, and that's not to be perceived a messaging bill, especially when you're going to have Democrats on the spot on 9/11 voting to approve of this deal, and then folks across the street at the NRCC turn back and say, this guy voted to approve this on 9/11.
Listen, yesterday we went to our members. Obviously, there are concerns about whether the president complied with the Corker-Cardin Iran Review Act. And clearly, our members do not believe the president has complied with the law. Now, if the Senate is able to move the bill, we want to preserve our right to move a motion of disapproval. And as a result, what we'll vote on this week is a motion to approve the Iran Nuclear Act, which clearly will not pass.
But how is this not a messaging vote now? Because that was talked about prior to July.
Well, this is about holding every member accountable for their vote. You've heard me stand at this podium for over a year trying to do everything I could to stop a bad deal with Iran. And frankly, I can tell you that the deal that we have is worse than anything I could have ever imagined over the last year. And so holding members accountable is an important part of our job, and they're going to have to vote.
Two-part question. Do you believe the president's complied with Corker-Cardin, and do you believe that what you're doing is going to get him to hand over whatever you're seeking?
If you read the provisions in Corker-Cardin, it's pretty clear that the president has not complied, because it makes clear that any side agreements, any other type of an agreement, that including those that do not directly involve us, must be turned over as part of this. And so I do not believe that he's complied.
If you're voting here to say he hasn't complied, so the clock hasn't started ticking, but then the next vote you're taking is to approve the deal, so that you're essentially saying the clock has started ticking because you're voting to approve it.
No, that is not correct. Out of a conversation between the House and Senate in July, the agreement was there would be a motion to disapprove. And that's what the House and Senate would vote on. We're going to preserve that option. Whether we use it or not, I think it's too early to tell. We're going to preserve that option. But we're not going to let members off the hook. It's a bad deal. And members ought to, if they want to support it, they ought to stand up and support it.
Talk about a promise to stall or delay the implementation of the deal. What realistically can you do, and how does that vow, it sort of sounds a little bit like repeal and replace on Obamacare. What realistically can you do, and is it just a sort of symbolic effort at that point?
We're pursuing, frankly, a number of options that and ideas that members have for what could happen in the weeks to come. And as we continue to investigate those and look into them and see if they're viable or not, I'm sure you'll be well aware of it.
Do you imagine something being attached to the spending bill, the CR?
All options are on the table. Yes.
One of those options, you said the president broke the law. Is one of those options some legal action against the administration?
That is an option that is very possible.